So ethics is a branch of philosophy with an emphasis on morality. What is morality? It's a set of beliefs. What's right and wrong. So my morality may be different than your morality. Okay. Um, this dang computer. Sorry, I'm trying to float back and forth between screens. I think we all encounter several ethical problems at work. You know, whether you work in an OB office, whether you work in an ER, whether you work surgery center, there's a lot of ethical problems that come up every day. There's ethical problems that come up in my job as an instructor. But we have a responsibility to be an advocate for patients, so we need to know ethics. So, what are some ethical issues that occur in your nursing practice? I'm going to just take a moment here and let you think about that, and then I will share with you what I came up with. I wrote a few down, so take just a second. A few things that I wrote down were end of life at any age, that can cause an ethical issue. Abortion, okay, you can be for or against abortion, but you have to educate your patient. And we have that can cause an ethical dilemma, but we have to give the patient facts. HIV, that can be an ethical dilemma. There's been two separate instances when I was teaching clinical where I had a student come up and say, Mrs. Gast, my patient has HIV. What should I do? Well, you should really treat every patient like they have HIV, right? We should wear gloves. We should follow the standards of practice. So that can cause ethical dilemmas. I wrote down blood transfusions. Different religions refuse blood transfusions, specifically Jehovah's Witnesses. Another, going back to the end of life, an example, maybe you have an elderly patient who's 100 years old and has a feeding tube and is unconscious, but the family won't make them a DNR. Maybe you and I don't agree with that. That's an ethical dilemma. But it's our job just to educate the patient's family and to respect their wishes. So those are some ethical issues that can happen. Ethical issues can happen in staffing. You don't have enough staff. I think that's happened in COVID. We don't have enough staff. That's an ethical issue. So here's some basic principles in healthcare ethics. These are throughout your book. Respect for persons, to do or promote good, to help others, to avoid doing harm, making fair decisions. Obligation to be honest with patients. You should give accurate, unbiased, and understandable information. This comes into play with, a person who's considering abortion. Maybe you don't agree with it, maybe you do, but at the end of the day, we have to give unbiased and understandable information to this patient. You need to be faithful. Appropriate use of patient information. You guys know that. You know everything about confidentiality and privacy. Keeping patients' information private. That's all under ethics. Ethical dilemmas, kind of talked about that already, but it's a situation when two or more choices are available, but it's difficult to determine which choice is best. What are you going to do? I love this next slide, resolving ethical dilemmas. It kind of made me chuckle when I made it, because how many ethical dilemmas have you been involved in where you have time to do all of this? Validate your feelings, conduct a case analysis, identify, things happen fast in nursing, right? So, but as you're going through, if you can look into the problem and decide what's important, hopefully you can hit a few of these to help resolve an ethical dilemma. Identify outcomes. What's gonna happen based on this ethical dilemma? Follow through and resolve reactions. So personal and professional values. So personal values, our values might be different. Values are generally acted on without thought. So it might be different between me and you. But a personal value is a belief a person considers highly important. Professional value are beliefs endorsed by professional groups. So like nursing associations or medical associations. So how do we develop our own personal values? A lot of us get it from society, maybe from the family we grew up in, individual subgroups, but everyone's maybe different. Here's some socializing influences. Maybe your family influenced your personal values. Maybe you didn't have a good family to influence your personal values. School interactions, teachers. We all have teachers who made an impact on us in the way they acted or the way that they conducted themselves. Um, that influence you, whether good or bad. That can influence your personal values. Religious interactions. Perhaps you were in church every Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night, and that had a impact on your personal values. Or workplace or service interactions. Same as school. I can vividly remember, I could tell you right off the top of my head, my favorite manager and my least favorite manager and why, and how that impacted my work environment and want to be there. So that influences your personal values, those types of things. Professional values are values articulated through professional guidelines. We talked about that a little bit. You've probably read the Nursing Code of Ethics. If not, you should Google it and read it. You probably learned about that in your associate degree program. Laws are rules or standards of human conduct established by legislative bodies. Okay, so we all have to follow the standards. And institutional policy. So we all follow policies within our institution. So this kind of helps shape our professional values, right? Because we have to follow certain guidelines within our profession. So that was pretty short on ethics. But go back through, fill in the blanks here with your book about ethics, and read about nursing philosophy. Email me if you have questions about the paper or about lecture, assignments, anything at all. And hopefully we'll get that straightened out. You guys have a great week.